Hello? Come in gently now. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to think of anything important tonight. All of that can wait. Right now, in this moment, there's nothing you need to figure out. There's nothing you need to solve. You can just let yourself rest. You are safe. Wherever you are right now, whatever bed or pillow or quiet room holds you tonight, you are safe. The world outside can turn on its own for a while. It does not need you right now, and so you can just be here, just here, breathing slowly, eyes closed, the blanket around you, the softness beneath you, the quiet of the room settling around you like something warm and kind. Tonight, I'm going to take you somewhere gentle, somewhere unhurried. We're going to walk slowly through a story you may already know. But tonight, we're not going to rush through it. Tonight, we are just going to be there. We are going to feel the air. We are going to notice the light. We are going to sit beside the quiet moments and let them hold us. This is the story of a life, a very gentle life, a life lived in unhurried days, dusty roads, quiet hillsides, still water. It is the story of Jesus of Nazareth, not as a lesson tonight, not as something to understand or remember or study. Tonight, it is just a peaceful journey, a slow walk through something beautiful and calm. And all you need to do is listen. Just listen. Let the words drift over you like a warm breeze. Let your body grow heavier with each breath. Let your thoughts begin to slow and soften and drift away. There's nothing you need to hold on to tonight. You can let everything go. And so, let us begin. Slowly, gently, there is no hurry. There never was. Section 2. The early life of Jesus. The night sky over Bethlehem. Somewhere in the world, a very long time ago, there was a night. Just a quiet night. The kind of night where the sky above is so deep and so dark and so full of tiny points of light that it almost feels like the darkness itself is glowing. Imagine that sky now, deep blue, almost black, stretching endlessly overhead, stars scattered across it like grains of sand. No sound of traffic, no hum of machines. Just the night, just the soft breath of the wind, moving slowly through dry grass, across dusty hillsides, through the sleeping streets of a small town, the town of Bethlehem. It's small, so small, just a collection of low stone buildings, narrow lanes, doorways draped with fabric, fires burning low in their hearths. Most of the people there are already asleep, or nearly so. The children are tucked away, the animals have grown still. The sounds of the day, the voices, the wheels, the footsteps on stone, have faded now, and in their place, just quiet, just the deep, ancient quiet of the night. A dog, somewhere far away, shifts in its sleep. The wind moves through a fig tree at the edge of someone's courtyard, and the leaves whisper softly to one another, and then go still again. The stars look down. They have been looking down for so long, and on this particular night, they shine a little more steadily than usual, as if even the sky is holding its breath, somewhere just outside the edge of the town, in a place where animals are sheltered from the cold, in a place that is humble and simple and quiet. A child is born. There's no fanfare. There's no announcement, not yet, just the soft sounds of breathing, the warmth of the animals nearby, the low glow of a lamp or a small fire, a mother's tired, peaceful face, and a baby, wrapped in cloth, lying still, tiny hands curled against his chest, eyes closed, breathing slowly, just breathing, in the same way that you are breathing now, slowly, in and out. There is something so peaceful about a sleeping child, something so complete, the way they seem to rest without worry, without thought, simply being. And so it was, on this very quiet night in Bethlehem. The town slept on. The stars continued their patient watch. The wind moved gently through the grass on the hillsides nearby. And in this simple, humble shelter, the world had just changed, quietly, without drama, without noise. A child, a mother, a man keeping careful watch, and all around them, the soft, unhurried night. The hillsides outside town, not far away. On the hillsides above the town, there were shepherds. They had been out all day with their flocks. Now some of them were resting. They sat or lay on the cool ground, looking up at the same sky you might be looking at in your mind right now. The same deep, star-filled sky. Their cloaks pulled around their shoulders against the chill. The sheep nearby were quiet, settled. A few of them shifted softly. A low breath here, a gentle movement there. The shepherds were not important men. They were not wealthy. They were not in a hurry. They were just there, watching the night, keeping their flock safe. And then something happened. But we're not going to rush through it. We're going to stay in that moment just before, that moment of deep, open quiet, when the ground beneath them was cool and solid, and the sky above was full and still, and there was nothing to do but wait and breathe and be. That stillness, that open, unworried stillness. It is the same stillness you might feel right now, letting your body grow heavy, letting your thoughts drift further and further away, like clouds moving slowly across an open sky. The shepherds received a message that night, a message about the child in Bethlehem, and they walked down through the darkness, quietly, carefully, along the paths they knew well, through the rustling dry grass, across the silent lanes, and they came to the place where the child was, and they stood there, looking. And the feeling in that moment was not excitement, exactly. It was something gentler than that, something quieter, like wonder, but very soft, like peace, but very deep, like standing beside something that you know, somehow, is going to be all right, more than all right. They didn't stay long. They stood quietly for a while, looking at the baby, at the mother resting there, at the simple, warm scene before them. And then they walked back out into the night. The stars were still there. The wind was still moving, softly, across the hills. And the town slept on. And the child slept on. And everything was still. Growing up in Nazareth, the years passed, quietly, slowly, the way years do. When you're young, the family settled in a small town called Nazareth. It was a gentle place, not much known about it, not much talked about, just a small village in a green and hilly region called Galilee. Imagine it, low stone houses on a hillside, a few narrow paths winding between them, small gardens, fig trees with broad dark leaves casting cool shade, chickens scratching in the dust, women at the well in the early morning, filling jars, speaking softly, children running through the lanes, and among those children, a boy, a quiet boy, curious, thoughtful, with steady eyes that seemed to take in everything around him. He grew up the way children do, learning words, learning to walk, falling down and getting up again, learning to help with small tasks around the home. His father, Joseph, was a craftsman, a worker of wood, and the boy would have watched him, sitting nearby, eyes wide, watching the careful hands, the way wood could be shaped, the way something rough could become something smooth, the patience it took, the steady, unhurried effort of it, the quiet focus. There's something beautiful about that image. A small workshop, the smell of sawdust, a lamp flickering in the corner, the sound of careful work, a father, a son, nothing dramatic, nothing remarkable to look at, just the ordinary, peaceful life of an ordinary family in an ordinary town. But even in the ordinary, there's beauty. Even in the quiet moments, there is something worth noticing. The way the morning light comes in through a low doorway, the way the birds begin to sing before the rest of the town has woken, the way a fire in the evening makes everything feel warm and close and safe. And so the boy grew, year after year, season after season. The winter rains came and softened the hills into green. The summer sun baked the stone paths hot and dry. The olive trees put out their small, pale flowers, and then their fruit. The fig tree in the courtyard grew slowly taller, and the boy grew taller too. A journey to Jerusalem. When the boy was still young, around 12 years old, his family made a long journey for those days, down from the green hills of Galilee, south through the land, along dusty roads, through valleys, past fields, all the way to the great city of Jerusalem. Imagine that journey. Walking. Everything is walking in those days. The soft sound of sandals on dry earth, the crunch of pebbles beneath your feet, the rhythm of it, step after step, mile after mile, the countryside moving slowly past, a fig tree here, a flock of goats being led along a ridge up ahead, a distant village pale against the hills, the sun moving slowly overhead, and at night, stopping, setting up camp, lying down on the ground or on a simple mat beneath the stars, the fire crackling softly, the murmur of conversation slowly fading, and then sleep, out in the open, under that same deep, star-filled sky. The journey down and back would have taken days, long, unhurried days, and somewhere along the way, the boy had a chance to sit in the great temple in Jerusalem and listen and ask questions of the teachers there. And the teachers were surprised by him, not in a dramatic way, just a quiet kind of surprise, the way you might pause if you heard something unexpectedly beautiful, a small moment of stillness, a pause, and then life moved on again. The family walked home, back along the dusty roads, back through the valleys, back to Nazareth, back to the small house, back to the workshop, back to the ordinary, peaceful life, the quiet years. And then, many years of quiet. This is something worth sitting with. Many years of ordinary life, of mornings beginning with the sun, of work done with careful hands, of meals shared around a simple table, of evenings cooling into dusk, of nights ending in sleep, year after year, the town of Nazareth going on around him, neighbors speaking across walls, children growing, seasons turning, the boy becoming a young man, the young man becoming someone steady and strong and calm, someone whom people trusted, someone who listened when others spoke, someone who seemed to carry something quiet and deep within him. But he was not in a hurry. None of it was in a hurry. Those years were not wasted. Those years of simple, ordinary life were not a waiting room for something more important. They were the life, the whole, full, real life. And there is something in that which is very comforting. The quiet years count, the ordinary moments count, the simple days of work and rest and sitting beside a fire count. You don't have to be doing something extraordinary to be living something beautiful. You can just be here, breathing, resting, present, the way the boy from Nazareth was present, in every ordinary day, in every quiet hour. Let yourself rest for a moment here. There's nothing more to figure out tonight. Just this gentle story, drifting around you. Let your body sink a little deeper into wherever you are resting. Let your breathing slow, in and out, in and out. There is no hurry. There never was. We will continue whenever you are ready. Section 3. Walking with Jesus beside the water. The River Jordan is not a wide river, not a grand or rushing river. It winds through the land quietly, between muddy banks and tall reeds, beneath a pale sky. It smells of water and earth and green growing things. Imagine standing beside it, the ground soft beneath your feet, the reeds moving slowly in a gentle wind, the sound of the water not rushing, just moving, a low, constant murmur, birds somewhere in the reeds, the light soft and even overhead, and a crowd of people along the bank. Not a loud crowd, not a restless crowd, just people, standing quietly or sitting on the bank, watching, listening, waiting, and there in the water, a man named John. He was not a quiet man in some ways. He spoke plainly and honestly. He lived simply. But in this moment, beside the river, there was something peaceful about the scene. The water moving slowly, the reeds bending, the people standing still. And into that scene, Jesus walked. He walked down to the bank. He walked into the water. And John and Jesus were there together in the river. And something happened that was quiet and significant and hard to describe. A feeling of rightness, a feeling of something beginning, not with a crash, not with drama, just a feeling, like the first light of dawn, like a door gently opening. The water moved around their feet and their legs. The reeds swayed. The sky above was open and calm. And then Jesus walked out of the water, and he went away from the crowd, up into the hills, into quiet, into a long time of solitude. The wilderness. Imagine a dry, quiet landscape, pale hills, pale sky, rock and dust and silence. The kind of silence that feels very large, very deep, as if the land itself is listening. For a long time after that day by the river, Jesus was alone in wild places. We don't know everything about those weeks. We just know he was there, in the quiet, in the open, beneath the stars at night, and beneath the hot sun by day, alone. There is something about long solitude in a wild place that strips everything down, takes away the noise, takes away the distraction, leaves just what remains. And what remained in Jesus was something very clear, very steady, very sure. When he came out of that time alone, something had settled in him, a direction, a purpose, not urgent, not frantic, just clear, like knowing exactly which path to take and walking it calmly, walking into Galilee. He came back to Galilee, back to the familiar landscape of his childhood. The green hills, the small roads, the smell of the lake, which was called Galilee too, or sometimes the Sea of Galilee, though it was not really a sea, just a large and beautiful lake, ringed by hills, reflecting the sky. He walked slowly and steadily through the countryside he had known his whole life, and as he walked, he began to speak, not loudly, not lecturing, just speaking, gently, to whoever was nearby, about something he called the kingdom of heaven. He described it in pictures and stories, the way a farmer scatters seed, the way yeast works through dough, slowly and quietly, spreading through everything, the way a small seed becomes a large tree, slow things, patient things, things that work without rushing, things that grow without being forced. And the people around him listened. Some of them didn't understand. That was all right. Understanding wasn't always the point. Sometimes the point was just to hear, just to let the words settle somewhere deep, like seeds themselves. By the lake one morning, very early, the lake was still, the surface flat and silver gray in the early light. A few fishing boats, dark against the water, the sound of oars dipping and lifting, the calls of birds somewhere along the shore, the cool air of the morning. Jesus walked along the edge of the water, the ground damp beneath his feet, the reeds brushing softly against his legs. He came to where some fishermen were at work. They had been out all night. Their nets were spread. Their hands were tired. He spoke to them. And something about the way he spoke, the calmness of it, the certainty, made them stop what they were doing and look at him. And a few of them left their boats that morning, left their nets, left their ordinary lives, and began to walk with him. They became his companions on the road, a small group of ordinary people, fishermen, a tax collector, others, not scholars, not priests, just people, walking together, the village roads. And so they walked, from a village to village across Galilee. Imagine those roads, narrow paths through grain fields, stone tracks across hillsides, small bridges over dry riverbeds, shaded lanes between stone walls, where fig trees stretched overhead and the air was cool. The group moved slowly. There was always someone to stop and speak to. Always someone sitting in a doorway, or drawing water from a well, or calling out from across a courtyard. Jesus stopped for all of them. He was never too busy to stop. He was never looking ahead to the next town, distracted from the person in front of him. He was just there, present, fully present, the way that you might feel right now if you let yourself. Just here, just in this moment. Nothing past, nothing future, just the quiet breath of the present. A morning hillside. One day, on a hillside overlooking the lake, Jesus sat down. The crowds had followed him there. They sat too, spread across the hillside, on the grass or on rocks. Some of them had brought small children who sat still for once, sensing the mood of the adults around them. The lake below shimmered in the morning light. A few clouds moved slowly overhead, and Jesus began to speak. Not loudly, not hurrying. He spoke about what it means to be at peace. He spoke about those who grieve and how they will be comforted. He spoke about the gentle ones and how they will inherit the earth. He spoke about those who work for peace and what they are called. He spoke about salt and light and small things that make a quiet difference. He spoke slowly. He paused often, and the people on the hillside listened. Some of them were moved, but not in a noisy way, in a quiet way, the way you feel when something true lands inside you, not like a crash, like a stone gently placed. The kind of words that don't need to be repeated or remembered because they've already settled into you somewhere deep. And when it was over, the crowd didn't rush away. They sat for a while longer, watching the lake, breathing the morning air, feeling the grass beneath them. The clouds moved, the water shimmered, and the words hung gently in the air above the hillside, like mist. Walking through town after town, village after village, they would arrive in the early morning or at midday, or as the evening was cooling, always on foot, always dusty from the road. Jesus would sit with people, in their homes, at their tables, in the shade of their courtyards. He would eat with them. He would listen. He would speak, not in long speeches, in short, simple words, in questions that open something up inside you, if you let them, in stories. He loved stories. A man had 2 sons. A woman lost a coin. A farmer found treasure in a field. A shepherd left his flock to find one that was lost. Simple stories, but they stayed with you. They wandered around inside you like a visitor who knew the way. Let yourself rest here for a moment. You don't need to think about any of this. You don't need to understand it or remember it. Just let it wash over you, like warm water, like soft light, like a breeze through an open window on a warm afternoon. There is nothing you need to do. You can just listen and let go. Let your body grow heavier. Let your thoughts grow quieter. Let the story carry you, slowly, gently. The carpenter's son. People in the town sometimes murmured to each other, "Isn't this the carpenter's son? Don't we know his family? Isn't this just a man from Nazareth?" And there was something almost beautiful in that the most extraordinary thing they had ever encountered came wrapped in the most ordinary packaging. A man with a dusty feet and a familiar face. A man who got tired, who got hungry, who sat down when the walking had been long, who looked at the world around him, the wildflowers growing in the fields, the birds on the branches, the sun going down behind the hills, and seemed to see them as if for the first time, every time. In Capernaum, there was a town on the northwest shore of the lake called Capernaum. Jesus stayed there often. It was a fishing town. The smell of the lake was always on the air, the sound of boats, the calling of fishermen, the clatter of a busy shoreside market. But step a little away from the lakefront, and you found quieter streets, stone houses with flat roofs, small gardens, a synagogue, where people gathered on the holy days. Jesus felt at home there. He walked those streets often. He knew the faces, he knew the names, and when he was tired, there were homes he could rest in, People who were glad to give him a room, a mat, a simple meal, the kindness of ordinary people, the gift of shelter and bread and a roof overhead. On the water one evening, the disciples, those who walked with him, climbed into a boat on the lake. The sky was still light in the west, fading through orange and rose and purple into deep blue. The first stars were appearing. The water was calm. They pushed off from shore and began to cross the lake. Jesus was exhausted. He lay down in the back of the boat, the gentle rocking, the sound of oars, the cool evening air, and he slept. He simply, completely slept, the way you might sleep, if you let yourself tonight, deeply, without worry, without keeping one eye open, just rest. The boat moved across the dark water. The stars came out fully now overhead, reflected in the lake below, stars above, stars below, the boat floating between them on the dark and gentle water, and Jesus slept on. There's something so human and beautiful about that. The one who calms storms, asleep in a boat, trusting the water, trusting the night, letting rest be rest. You can do that too, right now. Let rest be rest. You don't have to stay half awake. You don't have to keep watching. Everything is being taken care of. You can just let go and sleep. The quiet miracles. There were moments along the way when something unexpected happened. We won't rush through these moments. We'll just sit beside them, gently. A man who could not walk, walking. A woman who had been sick for a long time, made well. A blind man, seeing. In each case, the miracle itself is not what we're here to dwell on tonight. What we're here to feel is the quiet afterward. That moment when the crowd would go still, when the noise would stop, when something that could not be explained had just happened, and there would be this hush, like the hush of snow falling, or the hush of a dawn before the first bird sings, a collective breath, held, and then released. And in that hush, you could feel something large and calm and good, something that said, you're not alone, something that said, there is more going on here than you can see, something that said, it is going to be all right. And people walked home afterwards a little more slowly than usual, a little more quietly, carrying something with them that they couldn't quite name. The woman at the well. There was a time Jesus sat down at a well. It was midday. The sun was high and hot. His disciples had gone into the nearby town to buy food. He was alone. The road was quiet. The well was at the edge of a village, and a woman came to draw water. They talked, unhurriedly, about water, about thirst, about the deepest kind of thirst. The woman had lived a complicated life. She had not expected kindness, perhaps. Not this kind of calm, direct, non-judgmental speaking. Not this feeling of being truly, quietly seen. And when she left and went back to her village, she was changed. Not in a loud way, just a quiet, internal change. Like a window being opened in a room that had been closed for a long time. Fresh air moving in, sitting at table. So many meals, so many tables. Jesus was often invited to eat. He never seemed to be in a hurry at the table. He ate slowly. He talked. He listened. He asked questions and seemed genuinely curious about the answers. He didn't fill the room with himself. He made the room feel like there was more space in it. Imagine being at that table. The food simple, bread, fish, olives, a little wine, the lamp glowing, the conversation moving slowly, no rush, no performance, just people eating together. And this man across the table, who listened to you as if you were the most interesting person he had ever met, who spoke to you as if you mattered, who made you feel, somehow, both known and safe. Let yourself feel that now. Known and safe. You don't have to explain yourself tonight. You don't have to justify yourself or prove anything. You can just be here. Known. Safe. Resting. Your breath coming in slowly and going out slowly, your body growing heavier, your thoughts growing softer and softer, like voices heard from the next room, still there, but no longer pressing in, just there. And you, here, drifting gently, walking through the fields. On the Sabbath, sometimes the disciples would walk through grain fields. The grain was tall. It made a soft sound as they moved through it, a whispering, a gentle rustling, the stalks brushing against their robes, the dry, warm smell of ripening grain, the sun warm overhead, their footsteps quiet on the earth between the rows, and Jesus would be there among them, walking slowly, not in a hurry to get anywhere, just present in the walk, present in the moment, present in the smell of the grain, and the feel of the sun and the sound of his friends' footsteps around him. There's a kind of holiness in ordinary moments, if you know how to be in them, a kind of quietness available in every ordinary walk, in every ordinary field. It doesn't require anything special, just presence, just this, just here. The children people brought their children to Jesus, and some of the disciples, practical and a little protective, tried to turn them away. He's busy. Come back another time. But Jesus noticed this, and he stopped whatever he was doing. He said, "Let the children come." And the children came. The way children approach someone they trust, openly, without guarding themselves, climbing up, settling beside him, and he sat with them. Not rushing, not looking elsewhere, just there, present, with the children in his lap and around his feet. Imagine those children, some of them very small, small warm bodies, trusting and completely at ease, already half asleep maybe, leaning against him, already completely safe, already completely at rest. You can be like that tonight. You can let yourself be held like that, without needing to hold yourself up, without needing to stay alert. Just let yourself be here, completely easy, completely at rest, on a mountainside. Sometimes Jesus went up into the hills alone, very early in the morning, before anyone else was awake, before the town stirred, before the birds had even properly begun. He would go up, along a narrow path, the stars still out, the air cold and clean, the world below still sleeping, and he would sit on the hillside, in the dark, in the quiet, just there. We don't always know what he did there. We just know he went, regularly, deliberately, as if the quiet of those early hours was something he needed, as if the stillness of a hillside before dawn was a kind of nourishment. Maybe it is. Maybe stillness itself is a kind of food. Maybe quiet is something the soul needs, the way the body needs water. And tonight, you have that. Right now, the stillness around you, the quiet, the soft breath of the night. This is nourishment. This is rest. This is what your whole tired, busy, thinking, feeling self needs. Just this. By the sea in the morning. One morning, very early, after a long night, the disciples were out in their boats on the lake. The light was just beginning. The sky soft and pale at the horizon. The water dark. They had been fishing all night and had caught nothing. They were tired and a little discouraged. And on the shore, someone called to them, "Cast your nets on the other side." A simple suggestion. And they did. And the nets filled. And when they came to shore, there was a fire. A small fire on the beach. And bread. And fish cooking over the coals. The smell of it on the cool morning air. The sound of the fire. The soft light of the dawn growing slowly brighter across the water. And Jesus said simply, "Come, eat. Come, eat." Such a simple invitation. Such a human, gentle, ordinary act. Feeding tired friends on a cold morning, sitting by a fire on the beach, watching the sun come up over the water, eating together, being together, the road to Jerusalem. There came a time when the direction of the journey changed. The walk turned south, away from familiar Galilee, away from the lake and the fishing towns and the green hillsides, south, through the long and dusty country, toward Jerusalem. The disciples sensed something had shifted. The mood was not dark, but it was serious, purposeful, and Jesus walked ahead, steady and calm, not hurrying, but not hesitating either, just walking, as if he knew exactly where he was going, and he was not afraid. The road was long. The country changed around them as they walked. The hills grew drier, the olive trees more ancient and gnarled, the light harder and more golden, the air thinner, and Jesus walked through it all, stopping in villages along the way, sitting with people, eating, telling stories, noticing the wildflowers growing in the cracks of the stone walls, pausing to watch the sunset behind the hills. Even on this last journey, even knowing what lay ahead, he was present, completely present, in each moment of the road. The garden. There is a quiet place on the eastern slope of the hill that overlooks Jerusalem, a grove of olive trees, ancient trees with twisted trunks, the kind of trees that look like they have been there since the beginning of everything. In the evenings, Jesus used to go there, to be quiet, to be still. The city below, its lights and sounds drifting up faintly, the sky above darkening, the twisted shapes of the olive trees in the dim light, the ground beneath them cool and soft. On the night before everything changed, he went there again. He went there to pray. He asked his disciples to sit with him, and then he moved a little further into the garden, and he sat in the dark, in the quiet of the olive grove, beneath the ancient trees, and the night sounds moved around him. Crickets, a soft wind, somewhere, a dog, the distant sounds of the city, and over everything, the stars, that same vast, patient sky, the same stars that had looked down on the night of his birth, the same stars that had looked down on the hillsides of Galilee, on the lake, on the night crossings in the boat, still there, still watching, still present. Let yourself rest very deeply here. There is nothing required of you, not tonight, not in this moment. You have done enough. You have been enough. You can just be here. Let the olive grove hold you. Let the ancient trees stand around you, quiet and patient as they have always been. Let the stars look down. Let the night move gently around you. You are safe. You are held. You can let go of everything. Everything. Just breathe. Just rest. Stillness after the storm. There's a word that appears again and again in the story of Jesus. Peace. He said it often, not as a concept to be understood, not as a doctrine to be memorized, just as a word, a gift. Peace. Peace to this house. Peace be with you. My peace I give to you. Not the kind of peace the world gives. Something deeper, something quieter, something that comes from inside rather than from the circumstances around you. The kind of peace you can feel right now, if you let yourself, right now, in this moment, your body resting, your breath slow, the quiet room around you. This is peace, not the absence of everything, just the presence of something gentle, something steady, something that says you're not alone, you are cared for, you can rest. The road to Emmaus. After everything, after the darkest days, there were two people walking on a road, just walking, away from Jerusalem, toward a small village called Emmaus. They were tired, they were sad, they were confused. And as they walked, someone joined them on the road. He walked alongside them. He asked them what they were talking about. They told him. He listened, and then gently, he began to talk. He talked for the whole walk, about old stories, old writings, about how things that seem to end were sometimes the beginning of something, about how darkness is not the last word. And as he talked, something happened to them. They described it later as a warming, a warmth inside their chests, like embers being gently stirred, like a fire that had gone cold beginning, slowly, to come back. Not dramatically, just warmly. And when they reached the village, they asked the stranger to stay. They sat at the table together. He took the bread. He broke it. He gave it to them. And they recognized him. And then he was gone. And they sat there at the table with the bread in their hands. and the warmth in their chests, and the evening coming in through the windows, and everything was changed. Quietly, completely changed. Everything is going to be all right. That is the feeling we come back to. In the end, everything is going to be all right. Not in a shallow way, not in a way that pretends nothing is hard, but in the deepest way, in the way that reaches past all the complications and the difficulties and the weariness, in the way that says underneath all of it, there is something steady, something that does not shift, something that holds, and you can rest on it. Right now, you can rest. The shore of the lake, again. Let's go back to the lake, back to Galilee, one more time. Imagine the shore in the early morning, the same shore, the same gray water, the same pale sky beginning to lighten in the east, the same smell of water and mud and morning air, and a small fire, just a small fire, burning low, and the sound of it crackling, and the warmth of it, and you nearby, sitting on the stones, your hands around your knees, the water just in front of you, and the day just beginning, and nothing pressing, nothing urgent, just the fire, and the water, and the morning, and the quiet, and somewhere not far away, a presence, calm and unhurried, and completely, warmly there. Let yourself just breathe for a moment, in and out, in and out. Your chest rising, your chest falling, the soft movement of your breath. This is your body taking care of you. Even when you're asleep, your body breathes. Even when you are not thinking about it at all. Your heart beats, your lungs breathe. Your body goes on gently and automatically, doing all the things it needs to do. You don't have to manage any of it. You can just let go and let your body do what it knows how to do. Breathe, rest, heal, restore. The stars, again. The stars are still there, the same stars that looked down on Bethlehem, on the shepherds on the hillside, on the disciples sleeping in their boats, on the garden of olive trees, on the long road, the same stars, still there, still patient, still watching over the sleeping world. And you are part of the sleeping world, or you are becoming part of it, right now, as your thoughts grow softer, as your body grows heavier, as the sound of this story becomes more like a gentle sound in the background, not something to follow anymore, just something that is there, like the sound of rain, like the sound of a river, like wind in the leaves, just there, surrounding you, carrying you, gently, the fields at rest. At night, the fields rest, the grain stands still, no wind to move it now, just the silence and the darkness, and the cool air moving slowly across the earth. The flowers have closed for the night, the birds are in their nests, the animals in their shelters, the whole land resting, the way you are resting now, the way you were made to rest. The house in Nazareth. Imagine the little house in Nazareth, very late at night, everyone inside asleep, the fire in the hearth burned down to embers, just a faint orange glow, the soft sound of breathing, the darkness warm and close. Outside, the lane is empty, the whole village is asleep, the fig tree in the courtyard stands still, and the sky above is full of stars, and the night is full of silence, and everything is well. Everything is well. Nothing you need to do. There is nothing you need to do right now. You don't need to figure anything out. You don't need to plan anything. You don't need to solve anything. You don't need to remember anything. Whatever needs to happen tomorrow will happen. Whatever needs to be worked out will be worked out. But not now. Not tonight. Tonight, none of that is your job. Tonight, your only job is to rest. And you are doing it so well. You are breathing so slowly and easily. Your body is so heavy and soft and still. Your mind is quieting. All those thoughts that were circling, they are landing now, like birds coming into roost as evening falls, one by one, settling, folding their wings, going still, quiet. The voice on the water. There was a night on the lake. The disciples in the boat, the water rough, the wind difficult, and across the water, in the dark, a figure, and the disciples were afraid. But the voice came across the water, calm and clear, "It is I. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid." Those words are still true tonight. It is all right. You do not need to be afraid. Not of the night, not of the dark, not of the quiet, not of tomorrow. You're not alone. You're not forgotten. You're cared for. Do not be afraid. Just rest. The shepherd. There was a story about a shepherd with 100 sheep, and one of them got lost, and the shepherd left the 99 safe sheep and went looking through the dark, through the rough country, looking, calling, until he found it. And when he found it, he didn't scold it. He picked it up, he laid it across his shoulders, and he carried it home, warm against his neck, safe, held, carried. You are carried tonight. You don't have to walk any further. You don't have to figure out how to get home. You are already home. You are already held. The bread and the cup, at a simple table in Jerusalem, the night before everything. Jesus sat with his closest friends. He took bread. He broke it. He gave it to them. He said, "This is my body." He took a cup of wine. He passed it around. He said, "This is my blood. Remember me." And they ate together in that upper room, a lamp burning, the night outside quiet, the bread warm, the wine dark and sweet. And for a little while, they just sat together, not talking, just being together in the warmth of that room, held by the moment, by the meal, by each other, by the one who had called them together. The morning of the third day. There is a morning in the story that comes after the hardest night. After everything seemed to have ended, there is a morning, a garden. A stone rolled away, and someone standing in the garden, someone who seemed at first, in the early light, to be the gardener, just standing there, in the garden, in the early morning, and then a voice, saying a name, just a name. And in the saying of that name, everything changed. The deepest grief became the deepest joy. The worst ending became the best beginning. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a name, spoken in a garden, in the early morning, with the birds beginning to sing, with the dew still on the grass, with the sun just beginning to rise, and everything, somehow, was going to be all right, more than all right. The peace that passes, understanding. There is a phrase, a very old phrase, peace that passes understanding. It means a peace that doesn't make logical sense, a peace that is bigger than your ability to reason your way into it, a peace that arrives from somewhere outside you and settles inside you and stays. Even when things are uncertain, even when things are hard, even when you don't know how things are going to go, the peace is still there, underneath everything, like bedrock under the soil. You don't always feel it, but it's there, steady, patient, waiting for you to stop moving long enough to feel it. And tonight, you have stopped moving. Tonight, you are still, and so you can feel it. Maybe just a little, just the faintest sense of it, like a warmth deep in your chest, like a hand on your back, like the knowledge somewhere very quiet inside you that you are held. Coming to rest, everything you carried today, you can set down now. Every worry, every concern, every unfinished thing, every conversation you went over in your mind, every plan, every problem, every question, you can set it all down, right here, right now. It will be there in the morning if you need it, but for now, you can set it all down and just rest. The river, imagine a river, moving slowly through a wide and gentle landscape, green banks, willow trees trailing their fingers in the water, the sound of it, not rushing, just moving, a low, steady murmur, birds calling somewhere in the reeds, a turtle on a log, very still in the afternoon sun, the water clear, the light golden, and you, sitting beside it, just sitting, watching the water move. The way it just keeps going, slowly, steadily, without effort, without trying, just flowing, just being what it is. You can be like that, just flowing, just being what you are. No effort, no trying, just the slow and steady movement of your breath, in and out, in and out. The night carries you. The night has you now. The quiet, gentle night. It is doing what it does. It is giving you rest. You don't have to cooperate with it. You don't have to try. Just let it happen. Let the darkness be soft. Let the quiet be full. Let the weight of your body sink into the bed, into the floor, into the earth below. Let everything go. Every thought, every tension, every held breath. Let it all go. Still. Here the story is still going on around you. That's the thing about a story that doesn't end. It goes on. Around you. Underneath you. Somewhere in the distance, the lake is still there. The stars are still above it. The hills of Galilee are still green in the spring. The old olive trees in the garden are still standing. The shore is still there with the fire and the morning and the simple meal. And the one who walked those roads is still walking, still present, still near, not far away in the past. Right here, in the quiet, in the dark, in the room where you are resting, as close as your breath. You can rest. Now you can rest now. There's nothing left to do. There's nothing left to figure out. The night is doing its work. Your body is doing its work. And you can just let that happen. Let it all happen without you. Step back from the effort of being awake. Step back from the effort of thinking. Step back from everything and just be here. In the warmth, in the quiet, in the dark, in the safety of this moment. You are so safe. You are so held. You can let your eyes stay closed. You can let your breathing slow even more. You can let the last traces of conscious thought drift away, like clouds, like smoke, like a gentle mist dissolving in the morning sun. Gone, softly, quietly, gone. The last light. There is always, at the end of the day, a last light, a last trace of gold above the hills, a last pale brightness at the edge of the sky. And then it fades, slowly, gently, the blue deepening, the first star appearing, and then the full night, soft and dark and full, and the world tucked in, and the sleep coming, like a tide, slow and certain and deep, coming in, drifting. You are drifting now. That is the right word. Not going somewhere, not trying, just drifting, the way a leaf drifts on still water, without direction, without effort, just moving with the current, just floating. The world around you soft and indistinct. The story still going on, somewhere in the background, like music from another room. Still there, but not asking anything of you, not asking you to follow. Just there, like the sound of the river, like the sound of the wind, like the sound of breathing, steady and slow, very nearly asleep. You're very nearly asleep. That last thin layer of awareness still here, that last soft edge of consciousness, and it is beginning to dissolve. It is beginning to let go. The thoughts are gone now, mostly, just impressions, just feelings, the warmth, the quiet, the sense of something very gentle and large holding everything, the faintest memory of the lake in the morning, the fire on the shore, the bread being broken, a voice saying, "Come, come and rest, come and eat, come," carried into sleep. You're being carried now, the way the shepherd carried the lost sheep, the way the night carries the whole sleeping world, effortlessly, gently, completely. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be anything. You are just here, being carried into the deep rest, into the warm dark, into the long and gentle night. The story goes on, and the story goes on. It always goes on. It will be here when you wake. It will be here tomorrow, and the day after. It is not going anywhere. It will wait for you. It has waited a very long time. It can wait a little longer. Sleep now. Sleep. The stars are watching. The night is soft. The world is quiet. And you are safe. You are loved. You are held. Sleep now. Sleep. But only one thing is needed right now. Just rest. Just this. Just the slow breath and the quiet room. And the warmth of being held. That is the one thing. And you already have it. The road into Jerusalem. When they came over the final ridge and Jerusalem was before them, Jesus stopped on the hillside. The road from the east, from Bethany and the Mount of Olives, came over a ridge, and then the whole city was suddenly visible below. The temple with its white stone blazing in the afternoon light. The walls and the streets and the buildings spread on the hillside. It was the city of David, city of the prophets, city of the ancient stories he had heard in the synagogue at Nazareth since he was a small boy. He stopped on the hill, and for a moment he was just still, holding it in his eyes. And then he went down. The city was full for the Passover festival. Tens of thousands of pilgrims from every part of the Jewish world were there, sleeping in the streets and the surrounding fields and the villages nearby. The roads were full of people. The markets were busy. The temple was crowded every hour of the day. Jesus moved through the city. He taught in the temple courtyards. Sitting in the shade of the colonnade, people gathered around him listening. He ate with his friends. He walked the streets. He climbed back over the Mount of Olives in the evenings to sleep at Bethany or in the olive grove at Gethsemane. The Last Supper, on the night before everything that followed, Jesus ate with his disciples. A room had been prepared in the upper story of a house somewhere in the city. A large room with a low table and cushions and lamps burning. The smell of the city outside, the particular smell of Jerusalem in festival time, fires and cooking, and the press of people drifted up through the open windows. They reclined around the table. The food was the food of Passover, lamb, unleavened bread, bitter herbs, wine. And Jesus took the bread. He held it for a moment, this ordinary flatbread, and gave thanks for it, and broke it, and gave it to them. And he took the cup of wine, and gave thanks, and passed it around the table, and he said, "Remember me." Just that, in the simplest words possible. Remember me. Not, remember my doctrine, or remember my arguments, or remember my achievements. Just, remember me. As if the most important thing was not the ideas, but the person. Not the system, but the relationship. Not the theology, but the simple, irreducible fact of having been together at this table, in this room, on this night. They ate together, the lamp burned, the city moved below the windows, and they were together, quietly, for a little while. The garden. After the meal, they went out. They crossed the city, went through one of the eastern gates, crossed the Kidron Valley, and walked up onto the lower slopes of the Mount of Olives. There was a garden there, a place known as Gethsemane, which in the old tongue meant oil press. It was a place where olive trees grew and where olives were pressed in the season for their oil. In the first century, the Mount of Olives would have been covered with olive trees. The whole hillside, a dense gray-green canopy of them. The garden called Gethsemane was near the foot of the mount, not far from the road and the bridge over the Kidron. It was a place Jesus knew well and returned to often. The disciples knew it too. It was a regular stopping place. The olive trees in any olive grove are extraordinary things. Old olive trees, the kind that grow on hillsides in that part of the world, develop enormous twisted trunks over the centuries, the wood gnarling and turning in on itself, opening into hollows and strange shapes. The bark is gray and deeply furrowed. The leaves are small and pointed, silver on the underside so that when the wind moves through an olive grove, the whole tree shimmers between gray, green, and silver. Standing among old olive trees at night is like standing in the company of very ancient and very patient witnesses. There is a quality of endurance about them that is unlike almost any other tree. Jesus went into the garden with his disciples. He asked some of them to sit and wait. He took 3, Peter and James and John, a little deeper in, and then he went further still, alone, among the old trees. And he prayed. We will not press into that prayer too closely. It was his and it was private, And it was the most human moment in all the accounts. A man alone in the dark, asking for a different path if there was one. But the garden was quiet around him. The olive trees stood in their patient silence. The stars were above, the same stars that had watched over Bethlehem on the night of his birth, the same stars that had looked down on the shepherds on the hillside, the same stars that had been above the desert while he fasted, above the lake while he slept in the boat, the same stars, still patient, still watching, still there. And on the hillside nearby, the disciples slept. They had meant to stay awake. They had tried, but they were tired, and the night was cool, and gradually sleep had overtaken them, as it overtakes you now. The weight of it, the warmth of it, the gentle, inevitable slide down into it. Let it come, let the night take you. Section 4. The final calm stillness. Everything slows down now. Everything grows quieter, the words themselves becoming softer, more spread out. More space between them, just breathing. The whole story, all of those roads and rooms and hillsides and quiet meals, all of that is still there around you, still present, still warm. You don't have to hold any of it. You don't have to remember any of it. It is just there, the way a landscape is there around you when you're resting in it. You don't have to describe it. You don't have to map it. You just let it be there, and you rest inside it. Rest. The shore in the morning. There's a morning that comes after the darkest days of this story. After all the difficulty and the grief and the long, terrible weekend when everything seemed to have come to nothing, there is a morning. Specifically, there's a morning on the shore of the lake. The disciples had gone back to Galilee, gone back to the lake, back to the familiar shore, back to the boats and the nets and the work they had always known. They went out one night to fish, worked through the dark hours, caught nothing. In the pale gray light before sunrise, they were heading back toward shore, tired, cold, hands sore from the nets, and someone on the shore called out to them, "Cast your nets on the other side." They did, and the nets filled. And when they came to shore, there was a fire already made on the beach, small and low, a fire just enough to cook on and warm yourself by. And over the fire, fish cooking and bread warming. And the figure there, by the fire, said simply, "Come and eat. Come, eat." Such a human, simple, generous thing. After everything, after all of it. The first greeting, the first thing offered, was breakfast on a cold morning by a fire on the beach. Come and eat. There was no ceremony, no speech, just the fire and the food and the lake behind them and the morning coming in slowly over the water. They ate together, quietly, the sun rising somewhere behind the hills on the far shore. The lake, smooth now after the night's work, reflecting the pale sky, the fire crackling softly, and that feeling again, that very particular feeling that was not excitement and not relief exactly, but something underneath both of those, something older and quieter, the feeling of things being somehow all right, more than all right, the feeling of having been, after all, looked after. You can rest in that feeling now. You are looked after. You have been looked after all along. You just needed to be still enough to feel it. The road to Emmaus. After the resurrection, on the afternoon of the same day that the tomb was found empty, two people were walking away from Jerusalem. They were going to a village called Emmaus, about 11 kilometers from the city, a couple of hours' walk. They were sad. They were confused. They were going over everything that had happened, trying to make sense of it, talking it through the way you talk through something when you can't quite believe it and can't quite let go of it. And as they walked, someone joined them on the road. He came alongside them and walked with them and asked them what they were talking about. They told him all of it. The arrest and the execution and the tomb and the strange reports that morning from the women who had gone to the tomb and found it empty. And he listened. And then, gently, he began to talk. He talked all the way to Emmaus, a 2-hour walk, and he talked all the way, drawing on the old stories, the ancient writings, pointing out how they had been pointing at this all along, how this ending that seemed like no ending was in fact exactly the kind of thing the old stories had always been about. And as he talked, something happened in them. They described it later as a burning, a warmth in the chest, not uncomfortable, like embers being softly blown back to life, like something that had been cold beginning, very slowly, to be warm again. And when they arrived at Emmaus, they asked him to stay. Stay with us, they said. It's getting late. And he came in with them, and they sat at the table, and the evening came down, and the lamp was lit, and he took the bread, and he gave thanks, and he broke it, and gave it to them, and they recognized him. Just at that moment, just as the recognition came, he was gone. They sat at the table in the lamplight with the bread in their hands, and the warmth still in their chests, and the room around them full of something that had no name. And everything was different. Not louder, not brighter, not more dramatic, just different. The way a room is different when the right person has been in it. The way an ordinary thing is different when it has been transformed by love. Just different. Completely. Everything is going to be all right. This is what the whole story comes down to, in the end. Not a formula, not a set of rules, just this fundamental, deep, unshakable truth. Everything is going to be all right. Not in a way that pretends difficulty doesn't exist, not in a way that bypasses grief or pain or the real hardness of life, but underneath all of that, beneath everything, there is something that does not change, something that does not fall, something that holds, and it knows your name, and it is not afraid, and it is not going anywhere. You can rest on that. Right now, tonight, you can let your whole weight rest on that. You don't have to hold yourself up. You don't have to hold anything up. It is holding you. It has been holding you all along. The lake again. Let's go back to the lake one more time. To the Sea of Galilee, early in the morning. The sky is just beginning to lighten in the east. The water is perfectly still, a dark, flat mirror, reflecting the last of the night sky and the first pale trace of the coming dawn. The hills are dark shapes against the gray sky. The shore is quiet, the pebbles, the damp sand, and the reeds at the water's edge. A small fire, just the red-orange glow of a small fire on the gray beach, and the sound of it, the soft, irregular crackling of a small fire, and the smell of the morning, water and wood smoke, and the clean, cool air that comes just before sunrise. Stand there for a moment. Just stand by that fire. Let the warmth of it reach you. Let the quiet of the morning lake be around you. There is nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to do. Just the fire, just the water, just the morning coming in, slowly and without hurry, the way mornings always come. The stars watch. Above the lake, above Galilee, above the whole of that ancient land, the stars that watched over everything in this story are still there. The same stars that shone above the cave in Bethlehem on the night of the birth. The same stars that the shepherds lay under on the hillside outside the town, the same stars that were above the Jordan River on the morning of the baptism, the same stars that watched the desert wilderness while Jesus fasted for 40 days, the same stars that were reflected in the lake when the boat crossed in the dark, the same stars that the disciples saw when they looked up from the olive grove at Gethsemane, the same stars, still there, still burning with the same patient, steady light. They are above you right now. You can't see them through the ceiling of your room, but they are there, exactly as they have always been. Patient, steady, watching over the whole sleeping world. And you are part of the sleeping world. You are drifting into it right now, becoming part of the deep, quiet, general rest of the night. Growing heavy. Your body is very heavy now. Heavy the way the earth is heavy. Solid and settled and deeply at rest. Your arms heavy. Your legs heavy, your chest rising and falling with a breath that has become almost entirely automatic, your body breathing you without any effort from you at all. Your thoughts are far away, distant things, moving slowly, like clouds, like the slow movement of shadows across a hillside. You are barely thinking at all. There's just this warm dark, and the quiet, and the breathing, and something very steady and very gentle beneath it all. Something that has always been there. Something that will always be there. The shepherd in the dark. There's a story Jesus told about a shepherd, 100 sheep, and one of them got lost. The shepherd left the 99 in a safe place and went out into the dark countryside to look for the one. Through the night, maybe. Through the rough, unlit hillside, calling, listening, moving through the dark with the patience and the care of someone who will not stop until they find what they are looking for. And when the shepherd found the lost one, he didn't shake it or scold it or drag it home. He picked it up. He laid it across his shoulders, the way shepherds in that part of the world still carry injured or exhausted sheep, the sheep's legs draped over the shepherd's arms, the sheep's weight resting on the shepherd's shoulders, the sheep's head near the shepherd's face, and he carried it home, all the way home, the whole weight of it, without complaint, with gladness. You're being carried right now. You don't have to find your way home. You are already there. Just let yourself be carried. Just let go of the weight. It is being held for you. You can rest. Only peace. There is a word Jesus used often. Peace. He said it to the disciples when they were afraid on the water. Peace. Be still. He said it when he came to them after the resurrection, appearing in the room where they had locked themselves in. Peace be with you. He said it to the people he healed. Go in peace. He said it at the Last Supper. My peace I give to you. Not the peace that the world gives. Not the peace that comes from everything being fine. Not the peace that depends on nothing going wrong, but a different kind of peace. The peace that passes understanding. The peace that is present even in the middle of difficulty. The peace that comes from somewhere underneath everything, from the still point at the center of things that never changes no matter what moves around it. That peace is available to you right now, right here, in this room, in this moment, in this quiet. You don't have to do anything to find it. You don't have to earn it. You just have to stop moving long enough to feel it. And you have stopped moving, and so you can feel it. Just there, underneath everything, steady, warm, still, the house at night. Imagine the house in Nazareth, very late at night. Everyone in the house is asleep. The small rooms are dark. The fire in the hearth has burned down to almost nothing, just a faint orange glow in the ashes. The courtyard outside is still. The fig tree at the corner of the courtyard is barely visible in the starlight, its large dark leaves perfectly motionless. The lane outside the house is empty. The whole village is sleeping. The hillsides above the village are dark and quiet. The wildflowers on the hillside, closed now for the night, are just dark shapes in the darkness. The stars above are as clear and as close as they have always been on a clear night in Galilee. And somewhere in one of the small rooms, a child is sleeping, breathing very slowly, in complete trust, in complete peace, not thinking about anything, not worrying about anything, not holding on to anything, just breathing, just sleeping, just completely and utterly at rest, in the way that only a completely trusted child can be at rest. Be that child now. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to guard against. There's no thought that needs thinking tonight. Just the dark and the quiet and the warmth of the room and the stars outside and the fig tree in the courtyard, still and patient, and everything being well. So much nothing to do. There is nothing you need to do. I want to say that very clearly one more time before you go all the way to sleep. There is nothing you need to do. Not tonight, not right now. Whatever tomorrow holds, it will hold it without your help tonight. It is perfectly capable of arriving on its own. Whatever you're worried about, it will be there in the morning if it needs to be there. You don't have to go and check on it. Whatever you forgot to do today, it will forgive you. It will wait. You have done enough today. You have been enough today. And now you can be done. You can put it all down. The whole weight of the day, and the week, and the year. You can set it down. Right here. Right now. Just put it down. And breathe. And let the night do what nights are for. Drifting. You're drifting now. That is the word for it. Not falling. Drifting. The way a leaf drifts down from a tree on a still day. Not rushing. Not dropping. Just drifting. Slowly and gently, turning very slightly as it comes, settling gradually toward somewhere soft. The story is still there around you, still present, moving gently at the edges of your awareness, the roads of Galilee, the still surface of the lake, the warm room with the lamp burning, The shore at dawn, the fire on the beach, the sound of the water, all of it there, warm and present, like a landscape you are resting in, not thinking about, just resting in. The words are just sounds now, perhaps, soft sounds, moving around you like warm water, like the sound of a river heard from just a little distance, still there, but no longer asking anything of you, just there. Carried, you're being carried. The night has you, the quiet has you, the deep and patient dark has you. You are not lost, you are not forgotten, you are known, and you are held, and you are safe. The shepherd found you and picked you up, and you are on those shoulders now, being carried home with the whole weight of you supported, and the whole length of the way home already covered for you. You didn't have to find your way. You were found. You are found. You are home. Sleep now. Just sleep. There is nothing waiting on the other side of this moment that requires you. Just the warmth. Just the quiet. Just the slow breath going in and going out. Just this. The story goes on. The story never really ends. This is the remarkable thing about it. It is not the kind of story that concludes and closes. It is the kind of story that keeps moving, keeps expanding, keeps finding new people to draw in, keeps offering the same warmth to every new person who discovers it, at every hour of the day or the night, in every room, in every part of the world, where someone is lying in the dark and needs to feel that the night is friendly, and that they are not alone, and that something good is holding everything together. The story is still going. It is going right now. It is going in this room. You are part of it simply by being here, simply by listening, simply by resting inside it for this little while. And it will be here when you wake. The road will still be there. The lake will still be reflecting the sky. The fire will still be on the beach. The bread will still be being broken. The peace will still be being offered. Come and eat. Come. Rest now. Sleep. The story will keep. Just breathing. Breathe in, slowly, and out. Slowly, in, out. Just that. Just breathing. Your body breathing you. Your heart beating steady, quietly, without any effort from you. Your eyes closed. Your mind almost entirely still. Just the faintest movement of thought, like clouds too thin to cast shadows. Just drifting. In, out, in, out. The warmth of the blanket, the softness beneath you, the quiet room, the dark, the stars outside, patient and steady as they have always been. Everything all right. Everything going on without you for a while. Everything being held. Sleep now. Sleep. Breathe. Sleep. You are so loved. You are so safe. Sleep. This is where we rest. Right here. In the quiet. In the peace. In the warmth of this long and unhurried story. Good night.